Good morning, everybody. This is Joe, and welcome to our weekly review. Today is October the 13th, and in Chinese is 10:13. Well, that's not in Chinese, but 1013. And in Chinese, it literally, if you speak it out, the numbers, it actually means everyone does something nice for today. You know, everyone does something nice. So yi is an yisan. And so let us go out today and do something nice. But coming here is already a very, very act of kindness already. So that's what we need to do. You know, at every moment, always remembering what we're doing. So today, our review, first of all, we're going to talk about what we talked about last week. Let's do last week's review. Briefly go over what we talked about last week. So last week we talked about the potential of one. Essentially, we're talking about what does that mean when the merit of doing something to benefit all those people, all those living beings, is not as much as the merit of trying to inspire one. And we talked about our translation efforts. Our translation effort where there's a team of bilingual that are doing their best to listen to master's speech, Dharma talk, and then at the same time do an interpretation and translation immediately for those people that do not understand Taiwanese. And just as a shout out, as an information to all of you, that we're doing a almost like a bi-weekly review or bi-weekly sharing on every Thursdays, and that is also open to all of you to come and also listen to what everybody had to share about the Lotus Sutra. And for more of this information, you can always refer to Sister Cheng to find out more about how to join and what to do. But as we talked about last week, there are people that are doing this translation. And the most important thing is what we talked about was, suppose everyone on the team became master translators. You know, suppose all of you became master translators and you have become being able to translate so much text, so many of the master's talk, and being able to correctly translate all of these. Suppose all of that were done by everyone on the team. The merit of this is still way less than being able to help one of you to see how important this effort is. In another word, all the things that you are doing, you could be translating. You have become so skillful with translation. You have been so magnanimous with giving your time, with giving your effort, and you have become master, so skillful with all of this. Yet, if all of that failed to be able to inspire, because we were focused on becoming how good at translating, but we forgot that the most important thing is through the translation, it isn't about the beautifying of the phrases. It isn't about that every word is word for word translated into something that we can understand. You know, being a master translator means that every word, literally, technically is correct. However, doing that syntactically or meaning-wise might not be so easy to understand. But because we have become so skillful and technical in the things that we do, we have forgotten that the most important thing is how can we inspire more people to come to learn, even if it's a different language. And I think that was what we're trying to say, is that the merit of two things, there has to be a way. You have to weigh the two things between what is more important. And so that's why last week we talked about one part of the segment, and we're going to talk about it again today because it is very important, and people seem to have still some lingering doubts. But the part of the sutra says the benefit that he gains do not match the benefits of the 50th person who hears just one verse of the Lotus Sutra and responded with joy. Okay, and then it goes on to compare how it's not even 100th, 1,000th, or one part in 100,000, 10,000, a million. It is indeed power beyond the power of calculation, cannot be compared. So today we're going to talk about more of that, because last week we talked about it, we touched upon it. And there's still some lingering doubt about what it really meant. So we talked about directed influence and indirect influence. And what that means is, what we do specifically, like translating, it's a very direct influence to those people that we translated for. However, the people that we translated for, if they sort of get the text and was able to be inspired by whatever means that you do, to be able to influence more people, so you go from one to infinite. It's not just, I'm giving you the sun, I'm giving you the water, I'm giving you the soil, but the seed does indeed grow. And that is more important. I can give you all the sun in the world, but if the seed does not grow because the condition is not favorable, then it's not going to work. The sun is failing what it's trying to do. Same as water, same as soil. Too much of the sun, the seed dries out. Not enough water, the seed dries out. Too much water, and the seed is rotten. So it's an idea of balancing what is necessary in order to inspire that seed to be able to grow in the future. So that is the most key aspect here, is to cultivate the most fulfilling seeds for the future, to be able to have just the right mix so that the seed is prepared for the future, that when the condition is ripe, that when everything is prepared, then the seed will be prepared to grow into a big tree. And that's what the Buddha was talking about. So for this, we're going to continue. So if you still are quite uncertain and having doubts, we are going to talk about it again this week. We're going to talk about it until there's no doubt. Okay, well, that's called attachment. But we're going to talk about no attachment today. Why? Because that's what Master talked about today. And that's what Master had been talking about. Maybe not exactly with the word no attachment, but that's what the Master was talking about. The Master was talking about in the past few days how in spreading the Dharma, sometimes it isn't the Dharma itself that attracts, that gives you the merit. Sometimes it's a very kind act of standing up, giving up your seat, sharing the seat with someone else. Sometimes you are not the one giving the Dharma, but you have the merit as long as you try to get other people to listen, try to get other people to follow. That also has merit in it. And that is called no attachment. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean to be spreading Dharma? If you are so much as asking, inviting, helping, assisting others to listen to Dharma, you in a way are already gaining and also accomplishing such Dharma already. And there's such merit already. And that is the idea of no attachment. A lot of people think that the only merit comes to you when you are the one spreading Dharma. But you need people to assist. This is what I always say. Do you remember back in chapter 3, the third chapter, the chapter of parables, when the Buddha talks about the burning house? The burning house, remember, the burning house has the father in it and all the children that are playing that refuse to come out. So in our mind, there are only two kinds of people. One is the elder or the father, the one and the only enlightened Buddha. The other are the children that are all still trapped and are still all playing around with, refuse to leave the house. That was in chapter 3. But later on, in chapter 16, 如来寿量品, the infinite ages of the Tathagata, in that chapter, it talks about a different parable where there is a father who is a doctor who comes in and provides the medicine, except the children does not want to take medicine. However, in this parable, there is a slight difference. What was the difference? That in the children, in the group of children, there are some that agree to take the medicine first. And when they took the medicine, they become clear and they become knowing what is the benefit of the medicine. And then they began to help the father to dispense the medicine to the other children. So the same thing is in the house that is burning. You can't just have the Buddha and the children that are all refusing to leave. You have to have people in the middle. The people in the middle that are not the father, but they're also not the children. They are there to spread the idea that, hey, everybody, house is burning. There's one group of people that are helping the Buddha to spread the idea so people know it's burning. And there's a different group of people that are helping to usher the kids out of the house, because by the Buddha himself, he can't possibly reach out to all the rooms, to all the children. You need, and the voice cannot reach out to everyone. So you need more people to help spread the voice. You need more people to help push people out of the house. Same thing. The medicine is very powerful, but without the children helping, even the father himself is not able to give the medicine to everybody all at the same time. So that's why there are some that became to know what the medicine is good for and begin to help dispense the medicine. That is what we're trying to say here. It is by no means telling you that the medicine isn't important, that the only important are the people that are helping. No. What this is trying to tell you is we are not attached, that the only notion of spreading Dharma is by preaching the Dharma, but also sometimes encouraging others, saying the things to encourage others, to share with others, even if yourself haven't gotten the full truth yet. But the very action of inviting, of sharing, of willing to give up what you have so other people can have the chance to listen to the Dharma, that in of itself is spreading the Dharma. And so the idea is, do not be attached to what is the very idea of teaching and spreading the Dharma. And that's what the no attachment is. And that is very important, because Master talks about the middle way. How do you stay in the middle? Forget about how. What is the middle? What is the middle? And it's very simple, right? You can't just say what's in the middle. Oh, the middle is in the middle. Well, no, that doesn't explain what it is. So the way to explain it is, it's not left, it's not right. It's not up, it's not down. And that's what middle is. You can't just say middle is middle. In the middle, that's called middle. No, that doesn't define what it is. Find something about what it is not. And it's not left, it's not right. It's not up, nor is it down. So what does that mean? Look at this picture. So in the middle, there is a circle. And then there's left, right, up, down. So you look at this and you go, oh, I know, that's the middle. But is that really the middle? Is that really the middle? No, it's not. What is the middle? In Buddhism, the middle is looking more like this. It's a constant oscillation. It's a constant fluctuation between left and right, between up and down. And if you study physics or quantum physics, or you don't have to study quantum physics, like me, I don't study quantum physics, but you sort of know this. There is this thing called the electron. And it's a very good representation of what the Buddha was trying to say. In the middle, there's a nucleus. There's a proton and what is it called? Nucleus. Neutron. There you go. Neutron. Next to me is Brother Yoping, who studies physics. That's why I ask him. So in the middle, there is neutron and proton. But what is electron? Electron is something that carries a negative charge. But because it moves around, the only thing that we're trying to say is the probability of that showing up there, because it moves around so fast, it doesn't stay. It has an orbit, but it's not fixated in that position. That's the Buddhism idea of what's in the middle. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there, but it's not going to get away from the track, and it's always going to be somewhere in between. It's a probability of hitting that, but it's not there, and there's a chance that it's going to be there. And that's what this is. And that's what Master was talking about today with your, 直空 and 直有, between the form and the formless, between what you have and what you have not. And that is a very important idea. It's not fixated at one thing, but rather it's in between, and it's sometimes more toward up, sometimes more toward down, sometimes more to the left and more to the right. That's what this is. So it's not one dot in the middle and that is it, but it's an oscillation. It's a frequency that fluctuates between left and right, and it fluctuates between up and down. That's what the truth of the middle path is. It's not one point to the middle, but rather sometimes it's more to the left, sometimes it's more to the right, or up and down. So today we're going to use some of these questions to help us understand just what do we mean by that. So one of the questions was, when we start to distinguish between good and evil, judgmental view can surface. How can we cultivate ourselves without being judgmental? I think the very, very first point that we already know is that the fact that you're asking this question means you already know that you are being judgmental. The very first thing in cultivation is observing self. Observing yourself that you are already doing something that you dislike. You are already doing something that you know in your heart isn't right. Like you know this. When you say something, do you say this out of your dislike for something or like for something? Or do you say this in a very impartial way? You yourself know this, and you can observe yourself to see the change, the minute change in the original intention of your mind. And the very first step is being able to observe yourself. And that is why the very first thing, the very first phrase, the very first verse from the Heart Sutra is 观自在菩提, is when you are able to see yourself, when you're able to observe yourself, you're able to transcend and be able to see, you can see things more objectively. So that's the very first step you need to do. The moment that you're able to see yourself objectively, the moment you're able to tell yourself what you need to do, because you're able to act objectively. So that's the very important practice, and that is what Master constantly trying to let us to do. Always seeing the suffering of other people. And what does that mean? When you see the suffering of other people, you tend to put yourself behind the need of others. When you put yourself behind the need of others, you are pulling yourself out of the picture. You are serving the need of others. And when you say, no, it has to be done this way, then you're putting yourself in front of others, in front of other people doing this. Then you become no longer objective. So very importantly, Master asking us to see the suffering. Having the compassion will put the need of others before us. And that is a training that we need to do, to observe ourselves and to be able to lessen that self-attachment, attachment to yourself's idea. And that is very important. So on the next question, from this recycle center, we receive a lot of Dharma books and CDs. I usually send the books to the vegetarian shops to reuse. That's very nice. Lately, the counter at the vegetarian shop are loaded with books and CDs. And although the shop owner obliged, I feel a little guilty because I kind of unloading it at their place. Thus, I started to recycle the books under the paper category. I felt a little bit uneasy. At the same time, I tell myself, it's okay. The books are recycled, but the Dharma is always there. Is this all about intention? And that matters. That's very good. See, this is self-observing. You do something and you already observe yourself. You realize you feel guilty. Why do you feel guilty? Because you knew that even though it's something that you're doing, the action you're doing is right. But you knew the intention itself isn't right because you're just trying to offload the trouble. You're trying to offload something that you didn't know how to deal with. So you ask other people to handle it for you. And you do it in a very masterful disguise. that you're doing this to help the vegetarian shop. So this is already very good. Self-observing. Very important. Then the next step you do is then you start to think, maybe this is not right. So maybe I should recycle this because it's just, if it's not usable, then it's under the paper category. But you still feel a little bit uneasy. But at the same time, you tell yourself, you should feel this way. This is a very good example of how in a self-discovery and self-exploratory phase, you see that the truth isn't always do this or do that. It's sometimes oscillating in between. If the Dharma itself in the books are not being used, you can keep it in the bookstore for hundreds of years to come. No one touches it. The Dharma is not being used. It will remain as good as a piece of paper that is not being recycled. If you don't use it, it's as good as garbage. But if you use it, then whether it's coming from a page or if it's coming from a page that's already been recycled, you are using it. I remember the story back in 1998. Brother Stephen Huang went to Afghanistan. He saw, and there was a picture of him with a very huge 100 meters tall of the statue of Buddha. He was only but a very, very 1 out of 100 at the foot of the Buddha. He was that tiny. He was that tiny. If you don't point it out, no one will even recognize that at the foot of the Buddha, he was there. Back then, in 2001 and 2002, after 9/11 happened, so the Taliban, or even before 9/11 happened, the Taliban blew it apart. So after 9/11 happened, the invasion of Afghanistan by the US force, Brother Stephen Huang went back to Afghanistan again to do distribution. This time, when he went back, the statue of the Buddha had already completely blown apart, gone. So there was a news reporter right there asking him, knowing that he was from an organization that was founded by a Buddhist nun. The reporter asked Brother Stephen Huang, how do you feel that your Buddha statue was blown up? So Brother Stephen Huang says, well, the Dharma is in my heart. I'm only sad. It only saddens me because what was destroyed was a legacy of mankind. It's an achievement of mankind from our history. It's a historical accomplishment. It's a historical monument that was destroyed. It's not just the Buddha statue. It's a testament of the human advancement back at the time that was destroyed. But the Dharma will not be destroyed because the statue of the Buddha was destroyed. So that was his response. The same idea. The very books and CDs that you have gone to be recycled, are those in your heart? If they are, if you are able, if those have already helped someone, and I think this is very important. Master today talked about all these things are but tools, 工具 that was said at the end of today's 熏法香, that these are but tools to help us understand. But once they have already, you understand that they, unless you want to keep it for other purposes, if there's an overloading, then they need to serve a better purpose, then so be it. And I think that's when the intentions are very important. And that's also when the results are important. So I wanted to share with you, this is a difference between left and right, up and down. Instead of left and right, I have intention and the result. Instead of up and down, I have rightful means and skillful means. Once again, the answer isn't always veering toward intention. As long as intention is right, you do not care about the result. Not always the case. And the fluctuation, the middle, isn't always sheering to the result. As long as the result is what you want, you don't care about the intention, or you don't care about the process, or you only stick to the rightful means up top, or you always can stick to skillful means. The truth is in the middle, and the middle isn't one dot. The middle is an oscillation between sometimes toward intention, sometimes toward result. Sometimes it's intention-oriented. Sometimes it's result-oriented. Sometimes you have to stick to the rightful means. Sometimes you have to stick to skillful means. That's wisdom. So that's why Master talks about the importance of wisdom. When to use the right thing is the wisdom. And the very first step is do not be attached. If you are only attached to one single dot, because from the past, Master did it this way, so you are stuck to that way, then you can't even begin to talk about the flexibility of having wisdom to be able to help us. So all of this is always about how do you know what is right? Dharma is the answer. It will help you find the right frequency. Are you more to the left, more to the right, more to skillful means or rightful means? Which one should you do right now? Even if we don't have the wisdom, Dharma is a way that guides you. Are you content? Are you remembering to be grateful? Are you remember that you need to accommodate and understand other people? That's Dharma. And it will help us by using these rules, will help us guide us to find the right frequency to use. So, in part of this chapter, part of this verse, once again, someone is asking, suppose in 4 million copies of Assam, okay, so it's many thousands of Asanji worlds, right? Among living beings in the 6 realms, in the 6 destinies, and the 4 kinds of birth. And goes into explaining what the 4 kinds of birth are: egg-born, womb-born, moisture-born, and transformation-born. Okay, so those with form, those without form, those with thought, those without thought, those with neither thought nor non-thought. So the question is, can you please clarify, what are the ones with thought, without thought, with neither thought nor non-thought? What are these? And the big picture. Let me give you the big picture first. Once again, it's left, right, up, and down. What this is trying to say is there are all kinds of living beings, different forms. Those that are formed from egg-born, womb-born, moisture-born, and transformation-born. That's the form. And then those without the form, the ones you cannot see. So the one with forms are part of these 4: with thought, without thought, neither thought nor non-thought. And those of 4 thoughts are part of the 4 borns. What does that mean? It means that you and I are part of the 4 thoughts, and each one of the birth can have any of the 4 thoughts. So what that means is this statement is trying to cover all the forms, those with form and those without form. But these 4 things, the easiest way to clarify what they are. So for me, a person, those with thoughts means I want to do this, and that's it. There are those that are only thinking of doing something. Those without thought is that I want to do something, but don't tell me why I'm doing this. Those with neither thought means that, okay, I am doing this, but I'm having the feeling of emptiness. And then those with non-thought, neither with non-thought, means that I am not only non-attached to the form, I'm also not attached to the formless, and I'm staying right in the middle, and I'm also not attached to the middle. That's what these 4 things are: the ups and downs, the left and right. This is trying to tell you that in the world of the 6 destinies, there are always those stick to the right. There are always those stick to the left. There are always those stick to the top, and there are always those stick to the bottom. All of these people are going to be part of all the kinds of living beings in this world. And that's Buddha's way of explaining all the kinds of lives. The way how they are born and the way how they think. That concludes all the people in the world and all the living beings in the world. How they are formed and how they think. So this Dharma is fit for all the different types of the living beings born in different ways. And this Dharma is fit for all the living beings and sentient beings having all these thoughts, these 4 types of thoughts. And that's what it means, okay? So do not be too attached to the words like, oh, I don't quite understand this. But what that means is, out of all these worlds, there are people of different background. You know, people are born this way, people are born that way. And out of this world, there are people with different thoughts. Some think to do things, but don't. Some don't think to do things, and they do. Some don't think and don't do, and some think about it and do it. That's all. They're all different types of people, and that's what this is trying to do. So on page 23, in a different verse, it talks about the Buddha told Maitreya, I will tell you plainly. So the merit and virtue obtained by this person, once again, this is talking about arhatship, does not equal to the merit of the 50th person who hears but a single verse of Dharma Flower Sutra, or the Lotus Sutra, and rejoices in accord with it. So it talks about the comparison of the merit. Can you please help to clarify the part in blue, as the limited understanding is arhatship is at bodhisattva level stage. Some claim the highest level is already eliminated affliction. So let me tell you this. At this time, remember, at the time that the Buddha said this, remember the truth, the middle way is always oscillating. It's always fluctuating. But to understand what is the right frequency, we have to understand at the time, the wisdom of the Buddha is telling us which way to go. And you have to understand, at the time that Buddha said it, what was of most important? There were plenty, there were a lot of the disciples already attained arhatship. What was the Buddha trying to tell them? Can you say, if you're already at the highest level, what is other thing left for Buddha to tell them? If you already think that you are at the highest level, then what's there left for the teacher to tell you, to teach you? Nothing. So the teacher will absolutely tell you what you're at, and probably with truth, because Buddha's wisdom is so much greater than mine. I'm only trying to explain it with what I believe is right. If the student himself already thinks that I have already achieved the highest level, then how can I continue to excel? I can't. So the teacher at the time must tell you, you in fact haven't reached the highest level. There is more. There is the next mile for you to be at. If I don't tell you that there is more, how would you be willing to continue to go on? If you think arhat is already at the highest and you're already attained the arhatship, then why would you continue to listen? I'm at the same level as you, Buddha. What you already tell me, I only understand. So I don't need to listen, and I listen to you. But that's the same idea. What was necessary at the time that the Buddha said this too, in comparison, is if you're already at the highest, what's next? So the first thing is, everyone, if you already reach arhat, that's not the highest. There is the next level. What can you do to inspire more people? And the difference between arhat and the bodhisattva is what? Is, are you willing to achieve for yourself, or are you willing to achieve for the other people? And that's the transformation. You could have done all these things on your own. But now the Buddha is trying to inspire everyone that it is also important, not only do you accomplish all these things yourself, but can you also think about transforming other people and letting other people carry on the torch and showing them so that they understand the Dharma. That was what matters. So the very next question, the arhatship in bodhisattva path, do we have to reach arhatship first? Or is one of the level between the bodhisattva level, right? Our master, she seems to be a Buddha above all the level. And the important thing is this, the important thing is this, is that the idea of the bodhisattva path isn't just trying to get ourselves to one level arhatship first, and then we can help others. It's in the process of helping others, you yourself are also advancing toward a particular level. But for Arhat, it's different. They are trying to reach a particular goal, and that is to call the elimination of all the afflictions. And then the next level is for them to, maybe they realize it's the highest, or maybe they're willing to listen to the Buddha and say, oh, now it's time for me to help others. But the idea in the Sutra of Infinite Meanings, the Buddha specifically responded, the fastest, the most direct way is through the Bodhisattva path. And that does not diminish the possibility that if you go through arhatship first and be able to help others, can also get there. In the Sutra of Infinite Meanings, it tells you the most direct way is helping others and helping yourself. And at that time, you would both reach there at the same time. And that's the path that we chose to take. But it's the same idea. You know, we don't say, oh, so being able to do so much, does master know how to drive? Does master know how to speak English? Then how does she teach all of these things? That's not the point. So does she already obtain arhatship, or is she already attained enlightenment, you know, and Buddhahood? Then that's not the point. The point is the objective is very clear. Through helping others, she's helping us. Master is helping us to expand our wisdom, to be able to learn and grow and transcend who we are right now. So I'm already past my 5 minutes. So there are still questions. There's the last question here, but I'll leave it for next week. Always leaving something for next week so that we have something to say for next week. But if you have more questions, and if you're still thinking that something is not quite right, to ask or keep the questions here so we have a chance to go through them. But the idea is, remember, it's not left, right, up, and down. And it's not one point in the center. That's what it's trying to say. It's neither this nor this. It's not that nor this. And that's how the Buddha was trying to explain the idea that it changes. It's not always stick to that one point. So how do you explain what that is? It's like a wave. It oscillates. It fluctuates depending what was needed at the time. Sometimes you need to stick to the intention. For example, a mosquito was flying around you and it comes onto you. It's about to suck your blood. What are you going to do? You can hit it, or you can try to push it away, or you can let it suck your blood, right? And the intention is what? What are you trying to do? The result is you kill it, you swat it away, or you let it suck the blood. Sometimes it's result-oriented. Sometimes it's what do you intend? Your intent is, I'm going to not be sucked of the blood, and I'm not going to kill it. So what do? You blow it away, or you swat it away. You don't try to kill it. But in the process, what did you do? You might have done it too harsh, and you killed it. Are you going to repent all your life and saying, oh my God, I killed this mosquito? The intent was, you didn't intend to kill it. Yes, next time, you're going to learn, and that's the most important thing. So sometimes it's intent-oriented. Sometimes it's result-oriented. Sometimes you need to stick to the rightful means. Sometimes you need to stick to skillful means. There isn't one point out of that cross, which one you should do. But it's always in between, and it depends on what you need to do at the time. So understanding that, then reading the sutra, you will be much at ease. You will not be stuck there and say, oh, so the Buddha is saying arhatship isn't important. It's by no means diminishing the importance of elimination of affliction. That's not what it's trying to do. It's trying to say, at this time, the audience needs to know. It's not just about the affliction, elimination of yourself, but it's very important to pass on the Dharma so more people can understand. So thank you for this opportunity to share. And I hope that this will help answer some of the questions you might have. And now we will open to the other centers for questions, for sharing. Thank you.
Okay, on the right is Sister Wang Suzhen. She was previously a perm staff from Singapore, Tzu Chi Singapore media team. She's now currently staying in England with her husband. One day she invited me to her place and told me she has a lot of Tzu Chi work to do. I thought, why not, since I thought, why not, since I won't be working by then. So I asked her, how long can I stay? She says, as long as 6 months if I want to. Okay, so then I decided that 45 days would be enough for me. Then I booked a ticket and I fly to visit her. I was her number 29 guest staying with her. Okay, Sister Su Zhen is a role model for me. All the while, she has been very committed to doing Tzu Chi work, and she set a good example in her daily life. She makes use of her time and resources very well. I know that she's the person who can inspire me and pull me back on track in Tzu Chi path. And yeah. And I told her, when I'm there, I told her, squeeze me dry during my 45 days stay there. Literally means that I need to lose weight, ask me to do as many as I can so that I can pay back the lost time I have in Tzu Chi. Okay, so she really squeezed me dry. She has a lot of things in her mind. She wants to do, always thinking ahead of Tzu Chi upcoming event, what she wants to do, and she gave me all this. She asked me to help in doing all this material, do the printing, do the cutting, do the laminating for all whatever events she needs to participate. So I'm very privileged to have the opportunity to experience Tzu Chi world outside Singapore. The event highlighted in purple, held in various places, highlighted in orange, were organized by Tzu Chi volunteers coming from different parts of England. So highlighted in yellow is where Su Zhen's sister stays. She will travel to Manchester. She will takes about 2 hours to travel to London. She will takes about 3 hours drive to there. These are the two common places that she will go. Okay, this is a group of Tzu Chi family in England. I try to capture as many people as possible. This is an event that's more complete. Okay, so in the next few slides, I will share on the event that I've participated. Okay, this is the Buddha Day ceremony held in Manchester in a small function room. This is the Buddha Day ceremony held in London, held in one of the school auditorium. So actually, our focus is on the environmental protection stations, where Susan, Caesar, and myself prepare. Susan's sister and myself prepare for all the material and set up the stations. See, the cardboard that I prepared earlier were used to promote going veggie and allow people to take photograph. Next is the Buddha Day ceremony and the cookhouse distribution at Cornerstone. This is held in Manchester. A small ceremony, a small place, and this is the cooked food that is cooked by Tzu Chi volunteer that we serve the needies. This is an overview of the place that we have, a small place. The Buddha statue is right below the cross, and this signifies harmony in the country, and this signifies harmony in different religions. And these are the activities that we held these are a lot of ideas that we come to engage the people at the center while they're eating their food and sitting there to watch us, taking photographs. Susan's sister engaged them by picking Jing Evergreen card for their blessing. And this is the leaflet that was done for them to put down their wishes and their vows. And this is Susan's sister cutting hair for the people. Yeah, so these are the efforts that she would think of to engage the people there. And this is a group photo after the event. This is the vacant market at Gloucester. This is also coordinated by Susan's sister. She requested a store and coordinate with the organizer that with aim to heighten awareness of Tzu Chi environmental protection. There, with this event, she activated all the Tzu Chi volunteers in England to help her out. So you can see we share Jing product. It's an all-rounded effort where we share Jing product, Da Ai products. This is, you can see the dustbin. This is one of the volunteer. She took 6 dustbins from his office and then just to help out, just for the vegan market effort. And we display the notice for them to read. And we also engage the vendors for them to do the recycling, and those visitor coming for the event. So this is all-rounder effort to make sure that we heighten the awareness. And we also we also allocate time to share about Tzu Chi and environmental protection effort. There we also prepare instant rice for them to try. This is a 1 hour effort. And after the event, we ensure the cleanliness of the venue. And this is a good photo after the event. Majority come from although they are in England, they originate from Taiwan and Malaysia, majority of them. Okay, the event, my reflection is, unlike Singapore, Malaysia, or Taiwan, in England, I only see a handful of commissioned Tzu Chi volunteers from Birmingham, Melbourne, Manchester, London, Scotland, etc. Come long driving hour, taking train and flight just for that half-day event or 1 day event. Despite the small number, the unwavering commitment to Tzu Chi is really commendable, and we need to encourage them. And I realized that we are so blessed to have, in Singapore, we are so blessed to have so many people working together to share their load. And we should treasure our volunteer regardless of the amount of time they have with us. Next. This is a Serbia trip. I'm supposed to fly together with Sister Susan, but her passport renewal was cannot done in time. She was from Malaysia, so need to renew. We realized that in England it takes at least 3 months to process renewal of passport. But earlier she agreed to help Sister Su Wei from Germany for this Serbia event. But since she can't, she asked me to fly to Serbia on my own. Okay, I'll be responsible for taking photo, and she will do the PowerPoint from England. So I'll be her remote photographer for her. Okay, so this is a group of, so from Serbia airport, I took a cab and linked up with Sister Su Wei. Where is Sister Su Wei, and the rest of the city volunteer at the hotel. Okay, these are the places, these are the refugee camp that I visited. It was an eye-opener for me. Okay, seeing those refugees living aimlessly and having a lot of uncertainty in their life. And they're from different parts of the country, like Pakistan, Vietnam, India, etc. Some are single, some are this is some of the photos that I captured. This is the Buddha Day ceremony held at different refugee camps. This is, especially this is conducted during Ramadan period. We're very sensitive to them and respect their religion differences. Okay, this is the summer clothing distribution. The refugees were very happy to receive them. Okay, this is a team with Serbia volunteers. Thereafter, Sister Sue invited me to Germany. So this is a photo of a refugee planting salads and vegetables at Brother Rudy and Sister Cheng Su Wei's house backyard. Okay, that is for the refugee to work for themselves and take those vegetables when they're ready for harvest. I would love to share more, but due to time constraint, I will move on very fast. Okay, this is thereafter that day was in the morning doing the planting. In the afternoon, 3-hour drive to Vienna. Go to a Sister Chi's place. We do dumping, about 100 of them, to raise funds to purchase stationery for Serbian children. The school will in September. So this is the last day of my trip. You can see this is on this photo. There's this car number, and this taken when Sister Susan was driving. This was taken on 8th of June. This is a case that was referred to us. A patient, lady patient, was diagnosed with cancer stage 4, and we were tasked to go and visit. We were requested to go and visit her. So we went and visit her on the 8th. On the 9th midnight, we were there together with her and her sister, and she passed on. And we witnessed her pass on, which was very sad. And subsequently, her husband and son came. Then, this photo below is the funeral service day, which is about 2 weeks later. Then we, on this day morning, we help to coordinate on the funeral service. We do some prayer like a Zhu Nian before in the morning before I set off to fly back to Singapore. So before I fly back to Singapore, I download all the photographs because the family requested for the photograph and the video recording to be sent to the parents at Malaysia. The patient was from Malaysia, so it was I guess this is a sad day for me during the day, because early in the morning we need to prepare the funeral service. In the afternoon, I fly back to Singapore. So, but it was really a memorable experience for me, and to experience the thing outside. So this is these are the things I learned. Life is fragile and unpredictable. Change is a constant. Seize the here and now moment. Be grateful and don't take things for granted. Really, after going through England, I realized that Singapore is really, really very efficient. Yeah, thank you very much.
Good morning, Master, brothers and sisters. My name is Henry Lee from Singapore. Today, I'm going to share the topic, the benefits of listening to Lotus Sutra Dharma, Master Teaching Wisdom at Dawn. Okay. Listening and understanding to Master Teaching Wisdom at Dawn, Lotus Sutra Dharma, is better than donation to the temple. How true? Do not query. Just come for daily Master Cheng teaching Wisdom at Dawn on Lotus Sutra Dharma. You know why? It is because it will have a solution or answer once you face problem in life. This is the door to Dharma and cultivation of wisdom. It is the root of seeds. Initially, I have been going for early morning Lotus Sutra Dharma, Wisdom at Dawn, twice a week, but could only understand a few sentences of what Master was teaching. Times go by until past few months ago, I have met with some difficulties at my workplace. I was so troubled, and it was my dreams to work there. I faced with one of the colleagues' problem. She just couldn't communicate with me. It was as though in previous life I have offended her. I tried many ways to improve our relationship, but nothing can be done. I've been so disappointed. One day, Master did mention about this sentence in Wisdom at Dawn, no return in Dharma. In Chinese, it's 法不退转, meaning I should not give up. So I continue with my mission and work with enduring. Almost I could not take it, until I could not take it and felt that I'm almost stuck with depression. Since then, I have been I've tears almost every day. One of my Dharma sister told me to listen to Water Repentance Sutra from Master Cheng. Initially, I could not understand. I tried to repeat listening a few times. Finally, I understood Master explained that if a bad affinity was too strong to overcome, then just let it go and leave the place. Do not continue until things get worsened. So I decided to quit the job. Master has been teaching us to have deep faith in Lotus Sutra Dharma and cultivate seeds by spreading and sharing it. Once you have learned Dharma, you must put into action. 法入心, 法入心. At present, I'm a full-time medical volunteer. I found my original intention of learning Dharma, transforming problems into the Dharma path. This is what I have found. By helping others without thinking of any returns, you will be responded with joy. To strengthen my Dharma life, I wake up at 4 a.m. and takes 25 minutes of walking to our book cafe in Singapore for Master Lotus Sutra Wisdom at Dawn daily. My conclusion is listening to Dharma teaching of Master teaching of Dharma will benefit us as we follow and believe. With deep gratitude from my bottom of my heart, I can earn Master selfless teaching of Dharma. I vow to have deep root. I vow to have deep-rooted affinity to follow Master Cheng Dharma for my every life. 法随缘，感恩阿弥陀佛。Thank you.
Morning, brother, sister. First of all, thanks for the sister Ling Hong and Henry sharing. Thanks for the advance of the technology so that we here in Jinsu Airport and we can listen to all the volunteers sharing. And especially just now, Sister Ling Hong had been us to England and to see, to also have kind of that experience how the volunteer have done so many things and have joined so many activities to the community in England and also in Serbia, and how they distribute the summer clothes or whatever, all the things, and bring us to go through and to experience just even though just a few minutes for sharing. I think just like refresh me to record that. Yeah, this is I think in a lot of Western country, because I also join volunteer in New Zealand. It seems like so familiar in certain location that so certain activities that in England the volunteer have done. So it is very very similar. But it's different in Asian country like Malaysia or Singapore. The way we do the home visit, or the person and of the religions is totally different. And it gives me recall back time that I was in New Zealand as well. So I remember Master say a few years ago in our Jinsu abroad, there's one day Master give our all the disciple of her, especially, and also for the Qingxiu and mentioned that I think it's the year-end ceremony of our about Jinshi的岁末祝福. I remember Master did mention that though we stay here and abode very close to her, and she believed that maybe in our past time we have done we have formed a good affinity with Master, and that's why in this present life and we got chance to stay in abroad and can be stay here. But she say, Master say, we don't think that we are just enough. I have cultivated enough, and so that I'm now here in abroad, and this is I'm using my blessing. Master say we have to keep cultivate. She say, Master say, for her volunteers, for her disciples who are not just in other parts of countries or in Taiwan. And Master say, I believe my disciple, the lay practitioner, who not because they have a very less affinity with me, so that they stay far away from me in the Hualien abode. Master say sometimes maybe they have a great one, and they want to spread the great Buddha Dharma seed to other people, to the suffering people, and they bring vows to born in that country and to help those suffering. This is what I really remember what Master did say. So my lay practitioner disciple, they are just like the Sutra of Infinite Meaning, which is like one become more can expand to infinite a seed of the a good seed or like a volunteer. Because Master says like they spread seed. They stay far away from Taiwan, but they spread the Buddha seed to others people, and it's just like 一生无量. And they are cultivating a lot of blessing and for the future. So we are here in abroad. We also not just stop and say, "Oh no, it's enough. I'm in the highest, or I feel full that I can listen directly in the manhole, and I think I gain a lot, and I feel enough. I just like I no need to learn." So this is Master dimension that we have to keep going and keep cultivate for ourselves and for future. So through the Sister Lei Hong sharing, I think it's just like the volunteers who far away from Taiwan, they cultivate for themselves for the future. Yeah. And for Sister Henry, though you haven't been a commissioner and you're just a 见习培训 and volunteer, I think you already your capability is very strong, and I think you have a very rightful mind, because you just listen to the master teaching. I think in this very few short time, but you already it give you a very strong and deep faithful on the Dharma, and you I so praise that you say we are not just listen, but we have to take it action. And I think you are the one who, you know, very good in distinguish, yeah, the what is the evil or is good. I think you are in the right path, and keep going on, and we are like learn from others and just share to others as well to for your experience. Okay, I think this is my feedback for two of you sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Master Tzu Huang. And I think that will conclude our sharing for today. Thank you, all of you, for attending. And we look forward to next week's opportunity to listen to more Dharma and sharing online. Thank you.